So, if we're talking with cloud-based workflows, we're saying they're so adaptable, they're very useful for us. There's many perks. I think one of the things we have to touch on first is, how can we make these cloud-based softwares tie into external workflows, right? If it's more than just the software that's on our machine, how can we make it work for us? And I think one of the biggest things that many cloud-based softwares, at least the ones I've worked with, offer is something called an API, which is an application programming interface. And the way I kind of relate this to most people who are unfamiliar with the term is, let's imagine you or I at a computer, right? We're using a computer. If we want to do something, we use our keyboard. We push buttons on the keyboard, they appear on the screen. If we need to click somewhere, we touch the mouse and we make things work that way, right? So it's a computer, it's a keyboard, it's a mouse, we're the user, and that's how we interact with the software. An API is similar, right? It's a way for another computer or another process to interact with your software. But computers, they don't need keyboards and mice. In fact, they typically don't have arms, hopefully. That's a little bit of a Terminator scenario I'm not sure we want to get into for this presentation, but perhaps next year. Regardless, computers are able in that case to use code, scripts, methods, basically other ways of communicating with the software that we use on their own. And they can be manipulated to do many things, right? We can ask them to pull data for us. We could ask it to put data for us, in fact. We could pull in data and manipulate it, do various things with it. So it's really basically another way to utilize software that you're already using, really expand upon its wealth and the value it provides to you.
Right, yeah. So not only does it enable collaboration with teams, but it enables collaboration across different software environments. And so that's really key for us actually at Southbase is that we really try to get our software talking to each other as much as possible. And it really results in a lot of benefits on the end with much fewer emails, far fewer instances of moving information one piece to another. It's just automatically inserted or automatically saved or put where we need it. So altogether, it results in a much quicker process flow, and we're able to deliver that as value to our raters because we can get the information that they need a lot quicker. We can do QA a lot quicker, but basically, yeah, we want to reduce the number of steps that are non-value added so that we can really focus on those that are value added. Cloud-based software enables us to do that.
Yeah, definitely. And now, Daniel, when you're implementing a cloud-based software, there's a lot of things you have to consider. You maybe want to touch on a few of those.
Yeah, it's really understanding the power of the APIs. Knowing what data you can pull from that software, what data you can push into that software. You don't want to implement a new tool that you can't build off of in the future. So even if your company or your organization doesn't have, the technical ability to really, use APIs today, maybe in 2 years from now you will. And so knowing, the power of the API for those software tools and what's possible, and then more than that, really mapping out how, those softwares can work together in the future, knowing how the data will flow across those different tools. It's very important for us anyways.
Yeah, I think you make a great point. And one thing to consider, to kind of build on what you said there, is time, right? As we move forward, some of these things might be easier. The things we feel we didn't have access to today might become readily available and cheaply accessible now. If we go back 5, 10 years, the thought of doing some of this stuff, doing it on my own, definitely not something I would have even considered. Paying somebody to do it would have been extremely costly. And it's not to say right now it's always the cheapest solution or the easiest to learn, but it's in light years easier than it was 10 years ago. And who knows, 5 years from now, even maybe 3 years from now, a lot of these things could be cheap and easy solutions. So the whole making it readily available and readily easy to build on, I think is very important.